Welcome in, welcome in, welcome back, I should say, to another episode. It has been a little while for all of my subscribers. I've talked with a couple of you guys on some YouTube comments or under some YouTube videos and stuff like that on Twitter, but it has been a while. I don't even remember the last time I recorded. I want to say it was May. I think I recorded after finals. So 30-second quick update. I graduated from LSU, as I said a million times. I got married May 27th. Then we went on our honeymoon. And then, like, maybe 2 weeks passed, went to my cousin's wedding in Virginia. Also, hoping that this is recording correctly because I lost my earbuds. I lost some other stuff. I'm not a guy to lose things, but I just have no idea where they went. So hopefully all of this comes together. And then once we got back from my cousin's wedding, we were able to move in on July 1st, which took forever, but sweet place. New background, as you guys can see. I probably won't hang the Derwin jersey in the background, but I probably will try and put the Chargers poster possibly up there. Started a new job doing kind of health insurance-esque stuff, so super related to my major. That's sarcasm. I have missed YouTube though. It's a good outlet. There was also kind of just a bit of a break in football news. Today, Kyler Murray did sign his extension, and training camp is right around the corner. Kind of already begun for some teams, but I just figured, one, I miss it. Two, football's starting to get ramped back up, so should the YouTube channel, and I'll probably never have another break this long. But I just had a lot of things going on. But on the way to work, I was listening to one of the PFF Stock Exchange podcasts, and they had a very clever idea, good idea for a video and a good opportunity to respond to their video. And I'll break that down in a second, but I am also technically working for PFF now as well. I'm just a data entry junkie. I don't even remember what we're technically called, but I'm doing base and special teams participation. So I'm going to be doing that during the college and NFL season in addition to my actual job. But this video, for all teams, not just for Chargers team, or not just for the Chargers, the idea was a 33rd team in the NFL, an expansion team. They decided on the London Dynasty, which I'm kind of a fan of. I like the idea of expanding into Europe eventually. There's a lot of logistics that could almost be an entire video in itself, just ideas for expansion teams. But they ended up going with London Dynasty. They had kind of a funny mascot. And then the rules for creating this 33rd team, if you guys haven't seen that video, they got to protect 4 players on offense and 4 players on defense of every single NFL team. And then here are the other rules then. So exactly 1 player from each team is selected. So 22 starters and 10 reserve players. And extra credit, they want us to stay below 125.5 million for the salary cap. And projected players can't draft. I don't really remember what that means, but I stayed well below that. In fact, I got nervous. I was like, what did I do? Why am I so far below the cap? But I think I thought about it a lot today and yesterday and the day before, and I like the way that my team turned out. So I'm going to be going between, actually, I did forget to close out all of these or block these, so I'm just going to do that real quick. It's been a day. I might honestly just cut that part out. Probably won't. I don't normally do that, and it's been a while since I've edited, so we're not looking forward to that. But I started with QB. Honestly, I think it's going to work out because I'm pretty sure that they mentioned that we get the guaranteed #1 pick in the 2023 NFL draft, which means Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. There's a couple of other guys kind of in contention, but probably Bryce Young. Tyrod Taylor, 1, he's cheap. 2, he's a pretty decent quarterback. I would definitely top 25 quarterback in the NFL, I would say. Great leader. Not going to cause any problems. We're not looking to necessarily kill it year 1, but year 2, once we have Bryce Young, here's what we're looking for. Bryce Young can't beat out Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor just has too much experience. He somehow gets the starting job for week 1. I'm sorry, Tyrod, I love you, but he goes down week 1. Bryce Young's thrown into it week 2. Or just in the middle of week 1 and tears it up. I had to do it. Tyrod led the way, paved the way for Baker, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert. So he's going to do that for us next year when we draft a quarterback. And he was our pick from the Giants, I believe. Next, we have, you guys are going to be able to see it every single time I do it. I didn't run through this before if you couldn't tell. We have Michael Carter for only a cap hit of $1 million. I really like Michael Carter coming out of North Carolina last year. Javonte is a little bit better, but I now kind of work for PFF, so I can officially just fully buy into the running backs don't really matter that much. We can pick up a cheap veteran, better yet, a 5th or 6th round pick, and he will be maybe not as good as a Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry. But the difference isn't that huge for how much money, like the swing in money. So we got Michael Carter from the Jets, Gabriel Davis from the Bills. I want to say he has, I'm not going to be able to remember all of the contracts for all of the players, nor am I going to look them up all again. Big Zen, this video would take forever. But Gabriel Davis, I want to say, had 2 years left on his contract, and I like this receiving core a lot. I also have, 2 more receivers in the reserves, but Gabriel Davis, definitely going to be a breakout player this year. I mean, Stephon Diggs on the other side, but Gabriel Davis down the stretch last year was unguardable. Honestly, going to be a pretty solid fantasy option this year as well. But he is our, potential wide receiver 1, especially with his size and his overall ability and for how young he is. I think that the Bills, I was between Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, Micah Hyde, and Gabriel Davis for the Bills. And you guys are going to see my weakest position later in the video, and I was torn about switching some stuff up, trying to get Ed Oliver or Gregory Rousseau. And they're both good, but Gabriel Davis is really good, and I just liked the way that everything else fell when I kept it this way. Next, we have Jerry Judy from the Denver Broncos, cap hit of $4 million since he is a first-round pick. And I want to say going into his third year, third, possibly fourth year. But Jerry Judy, I mean, injury concerns last year, but when he's healthy, phenomenal route runner, plus athlete, which going back and watching some Alabama highlights a while ago of Jerry Judy, he's underrated as an athlete. Coming out, he was billed as another Calvin Ridley, just premium route runner coming out of college, but he has a little bit of breakaway speed. So Jerry Judy can also operate from the slot, but and so can Gabriel Davis, but those are probably going to be our two outside receivers, with little Mr. Hunter Renfrow from the Raiders. Don't like Hunter Renfrow, but he is a very, very, very proficient route runner, and he works well out of the slot. So that's a pretty killer wide receiver trio with Gabriel Davis, Jerry Judy, and Hunter Renfrow. I mean, very complementary. They complement each other very well, and also extremely cheap. Tight end, I went with Pat Freiermuth. At first, I was thinking that Mike Gesicki was going to be a no-brainer because they did not lock or protect Mike Gesicki. So I thought it was kind of going to be a no-brainer, and Mike Gesicki is better than Pat Freiermuth, but Mike Gesicki he's on the franchise tag right now, just on the tight end franchise tag, so it's not too much, but I don't know if I feel like the first or second year of the new franchise I want to dish out a big extension to a tight end when I already have other young receiving options. So I decided to go with Pat Freiermuth. I want to say that Steelers, I had a good amount of options. Not Devin Bush. Devin Bush. Cameron Sutton, Witherspoon, Terrell Edmonds. I think I was between Terrell Edmonds and Pat Freiermuth at the end, and it fell where I went. Freiermuth, left tackle, Taylor Moton. So this is the biggest contract thing that I do still remember. $8 million cap hit, not huge, but that probably doesn't sound good in the mic. But he does have a very bad contract. Next year, it's up to $24 million cap hit. But then after next year, there's no guaranteed after 2023, so he can be cut for nothing. So he's on a good contract for this year, and then a pretty bad contract for 1 year, and then we would be able to cut him or just extend him and move around some money. But I mean, we're going to have a cheap quarterback for a while, no matter what. So we're not going to be dishing out huge amounts of money. We will have some other young players looking for contracts, but not a quarterback. So at least for next year, we can afford to pay Taylor Moton $24 million. And he is a really good player as well. Left guard, Wyatt Teller, one of the best guards in the entire NFL, honestly. He also got a pretty hefty extension. Our O-line is absolutely sick. Wyatt Teller, $4.4 million from the Browns. Taylor Moton from the Panthers. And then Connor Williams for $5.6 million. And then we have Tyler Smith from the Cowboys, who I think is slated to play right guard right now. Eventually, they want to kick him out to tackle, and we will probably be trying to do the same thing. He just has a cap hit of $2.4 million. He is a first-round rookie this year, obviously, but athletic freak, physical freak, just absolutely bullies kids. He does need to refine his technique significantly, but all of the physical tools and mentality that you want in an NFL offensive lineman, and you can see some flashes of it, but I mean, playing between Connor Williams and Trent Brown, he will be able to refine his technique a little bit and not have to carry an entire side of the line like some rookies have to try and do. And then Trent Brown, $4.5 million. I struggled a little bit with there's a lot of offensive linemen that I wanted to take. And then Trent Brown sort of became a no-brainer just because he is so consistent and he has a very, very good contract. I think he's only on a 2-year deal now, but $4.5 million for a very consistent, above average right tackle I'm taking every day of the week. And then edge, this is where we get into what I think is the weakest position on this team. We have foot cramp. We have Tyler Smith from Cowboys, Trent Brown from the Pats, and Uchenna Nwosu from the now Seahawks. Cap hit of $6.2 million. Uchenna is a classic. I mean, all Chargers fans know Uchenna, but he is a very average edge player. He's going to flash some games, get hot like he did near the end of the season for the Chargers, but overall, not going to be your consistent, win a lot of reps coming off the edge, pass rushing, capable in run defense, but he's no Khalil Mack in run defense. Next, we have Julian Akwara I also didn't spell check any of these now that I think about it. I meant to go back and do that, so there might be a lot of errors in this video, so bear with me. But Julian Akwara, I'm pretty sure younger of the Akwara brothers on the Lions, I think. But he's also getting paid less, I'm pretty sure, and he is slightly better, I'm pretty sure. Wow, this is going to be a rough video. I'm sorry, guys. Let's make sure that it's, still recording the right way. So our edge rush duo is Uchenna and Julian Akwara. I like both of them. Still room for growth from both of them, but I could see some first round, second round draft picks potentially being used on edge players for this team. And again, it is a very important position and these are capable players, but it's not our offensive line or receiving core, which I personally think are dirty. D tackle, we have Daron Payne from the Washington Commanders. Pretty hefty cap hit, $8.5 million. And I don't remember what his contract situation was like. I don't know if he's on his Daron Payne. He wouldn't be on his 5th-year option already. He might be on his 4th year, but $8 million's a lot for D tackle's 4th year. So he might have gotten extended. I'm not sure. I remember really wanting Daron Payne when he was coming out in like 2019, maybe. So yeah, definitely not on his 5th-year option. But he hasn't quite hit his stride in the NFL yet, but it's all still there. And as a Charger fan, we will take basically whatever we can get at the D tackle position. And then we got Travis Jones, one of my favorite players from from this year's draft out of UConn. Had a great Senior Bowl. Got picked by the Ravens. There's a good amount of Ravens pull. Actually, no. I was only between Rashad Bateman or Travis Jones. There are other players too, but those are just the two that I came down to. And this team already is really young. We have some vets on the O-line, which I think is important. I guess Chenna is kind of a vet now, which seems a little bit crazy. But some youth, some size, some versatility from Travis Jones, I think is going to be very good even year one. He is just such a good combination of a little bit of everything, including size and speed, but he also has a couple of pass rush moves, which sometimes you look at even first round, like even Jordan Davis doesn't really have any pass rush moves, but Travis Jones can piece some things together. And the last position group that I was struggling with was the linebackers, and I like the conclusion that I ended on, or the idea that I ended on. It's, I think, kind of exciting. We have Levante David for a $7.5 million cap hit. I was between, I think the Bucs had the most players that I was looking at. Levante David, Donovan Smith, Shaq Mason, Luke Gadecki, Joe Tryon, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy Bunting, and Devin White. Like, those are all, I was very close to going Jamel Dean, very close to going Joe Tryon. I thought about Luke Gadecki a little bit. I thought about Donovan Smith, but I got stuck on linebackers because there just weren't that many that I was excited about at all for this team. And Levante David has been in the league for a while, but he's still performing at an extremely high level, still a top 5 linebacker without a doubt. Phenomenal in coverage. I mean, still a good athlete, but just super high IQ for the position, which is why I felt good pairing him with Leo Chenal from the Chiefs. The Chiefs absolutely killed this year's draft. It was sad, but Leo Chenal, truly a top 0.01% athlete walking the face of planet Earth right now. Just physical specimen, juiced up. But he needs to be pointed in the right direction a little bit. He struggles in coverage as well. And I think pairing him with Levante David to learn from and just kind of have somebody next to him while he starts off his career that can just do exactly that and point him in the right direction and kind of just always be another voice to help him work through some things on the field. But he has absolutely absurd athletic ability. So those are our 2 linebackers. That's our front 7, which is looking pretty good. I guess that's technically front 6 because I just went with 3 corners because that's what everybody runs nowadays. But so our front 6, I think that would be a pretty decent front 6 in today's NFL, but our secondary is pretty dirty. At slot corner, we have Kenny Moore. $6.75 million cap hit. The best, if not the best, probably second best slot corner in the NFL. I thought about going Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who is also in contention, but Kenny Moore, from the Colts, just incredible slot cornerback. He has been for a while. At Our other cornerback position, this was the Chargers pick for a cap hit of $1.6 million. Only in his second year, had a pretty good first year. I think he has inside-outside versatility, I think, which we might see him play on the Chargers this year, possibly some inside, some outside. But I want him playing on the outside in this defense because it is, I mean, just we'll get through it. He has some depth pieces and some versatile pieces around him as well. We have Cameron Dantzler from the Vikings, $1.2 million cap hit. And I remember Cameron Dantzler coming out. And the Vikings do have a pretty abysmal secondary, especially cornerback room. But Cameron Dantzler has graded pretty well and just been a pretty good corner. I don't want to eat my words, honestly. Let's look at Cameron Dantzler PFF. Because I'm pretty sure that he graded pretty well last year. 73.8, that's pretty decent. And he's not even 24 yet. I thought he was picked in like the second round. But yeah, Cameron Dantzler, I mean, just a very capable corner. So Kenny Moore, Asante Samuel, and Cameron Dantzler, two very young outside corners. We also have, for sure, one other very young outside corner in the reserves, but safeties, pretty dirty as well. We have Jordan Fuller from the Rams, phenomenal safety, pretty young as well, graded extremely well last year, and also super cheap. And we have Marcus May. Oops. For a cap hit of $2.6 million. I mean, that secondary, Kenny Moore, Asante Samuel, Cameron Dantzler, Jordan Fuller, Marcus May. Very cheap. So good. So versatile, too. Then, and all of the starters only had it up to $77.6 million. But the reserves, we have Lael Collins, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's only played right tackle in his career. I could be wrong. He might have switched over to left when Tyron Smith was hurt. But the idea was for him to be our swing tackle, and having Lael Collins as our swing tackle is pretty absurd. But Taylor Moton or Trent Brown goes down. We have Lael Collins for a cap hit of $4.16 million from the Cincinnati Bengals. And then we have Devontae Wyatt from the Packers. Packers were another team that I had a lot of names written down for. Definitely second most. I thought about David Bakhtiari. I thought about Zach Tom. I thought about Preston Smith, Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker. I was really close to going with Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas, and I don't know who that is. Can't read my own handwriting. But Packers, I mean, there's already a couple of offensive linemen in there, and they just have a sick secondary, super sick secondary. But Packers have, honestly, just a sick defense. Quay Walker, Devondre Campbell, Devontae Wyatt, Preston Smith, Rasul Douglas. Plus, yeah, that's... Wow, I forgot that the Packers... I haven't even thought about the draft in a while, which I never thought I would say. But Packers broke their little scheme or tendency a little bit with drafting Devontae Wyatt. But Devontae Wyatt, very versatile, very experienced or plays experienced already. So having him with Travis Jones and Deron Payne, very young, but again, goal isn't even to be good this year. Goal is for Tyrod Taylor to get hurt next year and for Bryce Young to take over, and then we start trying. Interior O-line, Landon Dickerson, $1.9 million. He can play really any of the three interior positions very well. DB, we have Kyler Gordon from the Bears, $1.5 million. Very raw, like kind of scary to think about what he's going to do this year. He's going to be decent, I think, but I would be more excited in a year or two at what he can do, and he doesn't have to start right away, which is good. Calvin Ridley, $0. He is not getting paid this year for gambling. He is suspended all year, but they didn't protect Calvin Ridley, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So I was willing to take that gamble that his mental health, and after this year, so next year, he can come in, and then our wide receiving core would just be even more unfair. And we have one more wide receiver as well. Another defensive tackle for the rotation, also pretty young, Javon Kenloff, $4.2 million. I really like Javon Kenloff coming out. I don't remember what. Javon Kenloff is more recent than Deron Payne, I'm pretty sure. But, and obviously later than Devontae Wyatt and Travis Jones. Kenloff, another guy who just hasn't quite put it together yet, but has some pretty decent moves and a phenomenal frame to be a pass rushing defensive tackle. And then from the Cardinals, we have Rondale Moore. Flashed a little bit last year, but just a great, probably going to be our return man, but also just a great gadget guy, and also doesn't even have to be a gadget guy. He just probably wouldn't start with the guys ahead of him. Phenomenal athlete, and also brings a very different skill set to the table than any of these guys. So I think he would be a pretty complimentary wide receiver 3 or 4 for this team. Cornerback, Caleb Farley from the Titans. I thought about Malik Willis, Robert Woods, Ben Jones, Dylan Radins, Christian Fulton, Caleb Farley, and Elijah Molden. A lot of your guys' secondary, actually, and the Browns were a team that I thought about a couple of players from the secondary. But Caleb Farley, I don't think played last year. Obviously, major injury concerns, but rare. I'm not going to say 1-of-1 speed, but very rare speed for the cornerback position. Really just rare speed for anybody to have on planet Earth. And he can sit for yet another year. Possibly, but I would feel more comfortable getting Farley in there than Kyler Gordon. So he's going to get some reps year one, but if he can just put together his technique a little bit, his makeup speed and his frame, phenomenal. So that would just add another huge piece to the secondary. And then linebacker, sort of as a complement to Leo Chanel, Chad Muma, great tackler, pretty high IQ, decent athlete, like definitely still a plus athlete, not quite on Leo Chanel's plane of existence, but Levante David also doesn't have that many more years in the league. Even if it's 4 more years, sweet, we'll take it, but it might be 2 or 3 more years, and hopefully by that time, Leo Chanel and Chad Muma can just fully take over as our 2 starting linebackers. And I just really liked both of them coming out. Who ended up? This is going to be bad content, but I don't remember who ended up drafting Chad Muma at all. Was it the... Oh, not the Falcons. Yeah, I really just don't know. I was also close to going Drake Jackson from the 49ers, but I was like, dog, second round edge rusher, that was already kind of a projection, already thin. Yes, I like him, but let's go with, like, if you can get some more experience and more of a sure thing, then just do it. And Javon Kenloff, not like a spectacular player, but still a little bit more of a sure thing. And then from the Texans, Agbania Okoronkwo. Not great. $3.1 million, but he's a decent edge player, rotational with Chenna and Julian Akwara. Reserves $23 million, so final was just $100 million. Let me know what you guys think of my team. If you guys also did this exercise, you guys can put your team in the chat if you can find a way to even do that. I think my weaknesses would probably be the defensive line. Most of my offense, I really like. The quarterback, really could have only gone Teddy, some of the rookies, Tyrod, like Drew Lock, maybe Marcus Mariota, guys like that, but they definitely didn't have a layup at the quarterback position. Baker Mayfield was another option, and Baker objectively would probably be the best pick if you're trying to win year 1, year 2. But Tyrod, from a leadership perspective, from starting a new team perspective, and from something about Tyrod Taylor getting hurt and ushering in a very, very good young quarterback, I was intrigued by. But yeah, I am happy to be back. It's been a while. It's been busy. I really hope that this recorded. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.